All right. I went live,
Right.
let people get logged in and join on. Here they come. It was stalled at 3 for a moment. I was like, God, they're probably all my staff. Is anybody else going to join us? But they're coming. They're coming.
They're coming.
So here they come. I think we had 65 total registered. I don't know how many of those were my staff. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
How many of these webcasts have you done? This is your first one right now.
I've been doing them since, I've done a lot, but then we took a big hiatus first part of the year. Really kind of took a hiatus during a lot of COVID, but we've been back on track since August.
Oh, good.
So we got this month, next month you're back on, remember?
Oh, that's right. About what?
We're going to dive deeper into goal setting and accountability and goal setting. I thought we would really spend that at the end of the year, going into the new year. And then January, I'm doing one about hospice cap reporting. Then we go back on hiatus for busy season.
Okay. I will not be doing hospice cap reporting for anybody.
Yeah, no, I won't.
For anybody that loves me after this, it's not happening.
Yeah, it's not my specialty either. I've got the cap doctor coming on. I tried to buy him. He was not interested in joining my team. So I was like, oh, okay.
No.
So we
come join our webcast.
What's that?
Says you can come join the webcast.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll give it just a few more seconds. Let me get my slide deck pulled up.
I have the hardest time saying entrepreneurial. I
have the hardest time spelling it, but saying it also.
Entrepreneurial, which is ironic.
I'm screwed. All right, guys, let's get rolling. Thank you guys for joining us today. It's the Wednesday webcast with Knight Home Care Financial. I'm Amy Knight, and I have a good friend of mine, Erin Andrews. She is also an accountant. She is down in sunny Vero Beach, Florida. What's that, an hour south of Orlando?
Hour and a half, yeah.
Southeast, something like that.
Southeast.
Thus the tank top. And those of you that know me or don't know me, I threw down a gauntlet challenge to myself. We were just at a conference we were in Orlando, a few weeks ago. And it was all us accountants, real nerdy people. But I told my friends, I said, okay, we meet again in May. I'm gonna look like Erin. So I'm on a diet. They're there somewhere. They're under there. It's just the winter fluff has been in place. I'm now calling it the COVID fluff. It's been there. Right. So anyway, so Erin has an accounting firm over in Florida, but she's also in Massachusetts. We're all virtual and we work everywhere. She doesn't do a lot of healthcare like we do, but today's topic is really about this book traction, EOS, and it's something both of us practice. And at the conference we were just at, Erin took over presidentship her first year into the damn association. She just came in and took charge. And but that's what the whole conference was about, traction. And so it worked out well. So I said, well, come join me on this and we'll do this for my audience. So this is there's a lot of material in this concept of traction and EOS. We're going to go through at a very high level. I've got an idea that maybe come summertime, I've got busy season. We got to get through that. Maybe do a, EOS for home care series, like a 6 or 8 week series where we dive into each component of it. And what it is, it's a system by which you just set up to operate your business. It can be any business. It doesn't home care. Erin works with a lot of contractors, construction and contractors. And do you still do gyms and spas?
No, mostly just contractors.
Cheerleaders. She's got a bunch of cheerleader coaches.
Yeah, coaches. Yes. Yeah. We're really niche. We've really niched to the contractor though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyways, it applies to everybody. And I just see such a place for it in our home care world, because I don't know if anybody I shouldn't say that. I know you guys put intention behind your business. This just gives you kind of a framework to operate in. So So I'm going to share, give me a second for technology. I did post in the chat. There's a link and a PDF. They're the same thing. I didn't know I could upload a PDF, but it's there. So you can either download that PDF or you can click on the link and get it comes from my website basically. So either or. You can grab that. Also, a little housekeeping. If you've got questions, you guys know I like to be interactive and answer questions as we go, or, I might hold them for a little while, but please put them in the Q&A, the question and answer panel, which is at the bottom of your Zoom screen. You might have to kind of hover over it and it will pop up. So, all right, let me find my presentation and then let me get it into slideshow mode. I never know how to do it right. Hold on. Well, I was supposed to put it in slideshow mode first. Okay, there we go. And then let me flip these. Okay. All right, Erin, can you see my screen?
Sure can.
The slide deck. Okay, cool. So I am technically challenged with graphic design, and so we don't have a lot of pretty slides. I apologize. I just didn't have that much time. I already have a couple questions. Let's see. The chat's, okay,
I can
thank
look at
you.
it. I can watch it.
Okay.
Oh, chat says it's disabled. Do you want to do chat or do you want to do Q&A?
Well, what is up with Zoom? You have to enable the chat panel.
Yes. Yeah. You have to go to open the chat up.
Yep.
Then you go to where the little three dots on the right-hand side, and then you enable chat for everybody. I do a lot of webinars, if anybody. I don't just study Zoom.
Okay, try it now, guys. That's kind of a new little feature. Okay, looks good. Everybody good? All right, cool. Okay, so this whole idea, now let me first say that neither Erin nor myself are certified. Now, I got to attach it again. Okay, yep, hang on. I'm just going to do the PDF because I think that's just easier for everybody to grab. Okay, open. Man, I was trying to be all ahead of the game and have it out there for you guys. Okay, is it there now?
It is. It is.
Okay, all right, good deal. Just trying to kind of minimize that screen. Okay. So again, neither Erin and I, that's not even proper English.
It's okay.
You know what I mean? Are certified. So you can be a certified EOS implementer.
Yeah.
We're not. We're just giving you some information and like how we use it, right? So it's EOS means Entrepreneurial Operating System, and it really started with this book, Traction. I've posted both books here and I'll explain the difference. Traction is the actual book. It's the theory. It's like, here's the framework and here's how you use it. Whereas Get a Grip is a fable. So it's a story about a fictitious company that needs to implement this EOS system. They do it, they find a coach, they implement it, and how it changes their business. My personal style, I learn better from a story like that.
So do I.
So I started with the book, Get a Grip. That gave me a really good picture of it. Then I read Traction, and then there are even other ones. I've read Rocket Fuel. I don't remember How to Be a Great Boss. So there's a few different ones in his whole series. So it's by Gino Wickman. So that's the book, and that's kind of where it started. But one thing I thought about, Erin, that I didn't put in here, a lot of this really started with the E-Myth, the book, the E-Myth.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? So that is Michael Gerber. Okay. And again, I didn't put it in here. I'll throw it in. Erin, will you throw it in chat? Yeah. But the E-Myth it stands for the entrepreneurial myth. And really its big concept is to be an entrepreneur, you cannot do all the work. You've got to elevate yourself out of being the worker. They call it a technician. And you've got to be a business owner and take yourself out of the work, which means you've got to put systems in place to run the business, and you got to get the right people in the right seats on the bus. This really follows that kind of concept as well. So we're just going to go through, and again, the slide deck is very light. It's just some talking points for Erin and I to go through and just kind of banter back and forth. That's what we do best. But there are EOS implementers and coaches. I've put their website there, and it's got like all the details. So if you really wanted to dig more into it, I say grab one of those books. I did Audible on both of them. It's a great way to drive, especially if you're out seeing patients, right? You're driving around all day anyways. So I put that info there, but the foundation of it is really about, you create a leadership team. You spend a couple days setting your vision, mission, core values, coming up with an accountability chart, which is that concept of the right people in the right seats. And it's kind of an org chart. They just take a different spin on it. And we'll get to each of these in more detail. There's a series of meetings. There's goal setting, and then there's a scorecard where you track KPIs and you kind of measure how you're doing. So that's really what we want to go through. Now I wish I did have my other Zooms.
Do you want me to share kind of why this is such a good thing and how it's like impacted our firm, probably your firm?
Go for it.
So you might be wondering, why would we do this? I implemented this a few years ago in our accounting firm, and it has literally changed our business. So we had, I don't know if any of you are out there, but you probably own a business and you put your head down and you just work. And then you have these ideas and you have these goals in your head that you want to accomplish. And you might even share them with your team, but you never really see them through all the way to the finish. Or maybe it's causing confusion in your company. That was what was happening with us. And once we implemented EOS, basically what it does, it gives you a structure to your company, but also helps you and really, I guess, focus in on those goals, those targets you want to set, and actually help you move your firm or your company forward and get some traction. Get it? And get stuff done. So instead of talking about it, not having a real plan, not having accountability, no timelines, nothing, nobody's really owning it. Now it's completely different. You have a plan, you have accountability, you have meeting structures, you're getting stuff done. We've gotten more done in the past 2.5 years in our company than we had probably in about 5 to 7 years. We're accomplishing more things ever. So, and our team is more engaged than ever. Our processes are awesome, and it's all due to this system. So that's the reason why I think Amy wanted to share this with everybody. And I think Amy has a similar story.
Now that so we're about the same timeline. I think we started right before COVID hit, then COVID put the brakes on everything. So very close timing. How much time would you say, just ballpark it? Because like hearing you say that, God, that sounds like a lot of time. That's what I'm hearing these agency owners think. Once it's implemented, how much time do you feel like you spend on it a week, a month? A couple hours a week?
Yeah. Like we have our weekly leadership meeting, which is 90 minutes, right? A week. We just had it this morning, every Wednesday, same time. For us, it's more just like, it's part of our company now. So I honestly couldn't afford not to spend the time, I think. So like their weekly, how it's set up is you have weekly leadership meetings for 90 minutes. You have monthly partner meetings. Then you also have quarterly meetings, which are either a full day or 2 day. The annual one's 2 day. So time-wise, so to speak, that's what you're looking at, right? But we're always thinking in the EOS model, I guess. Yeah. So the way we've like developed or moved forward through our company, it's basically the EOS way of running our company. So it took a while for us to see traction. But it can get frustrating too, I think, because you're like, I'm doing all this stuff. I know it's good things. I know there's change, but to see that change, like really visual, like the results, it does take a little while too. So it can get frustrating, but it's totally worth it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if that's what you're asking.
Well, my point is, I think you hit it in that it is just woven throughout your day-to-day work. Yes. but it's not a whole lot of extra time
No.
of like, oh, we've got to sit down and do this and sit down and do that. And we will get to the meetings a little. So it's all written out in here. So you don't have to, Erin talks really fast. She's from the Northeast.
Yes.
So that's part of that. What's that other word you say all the time?
Wicked? Wicked?
Yeah, wicked. That's it. Yeah.
I also swear a lot, but I'll try to keep it clean here. So.
Leadership team. So what is a leadership team, right? You basically take who are the core people around you that when you need to make decisions, you go to, and think about, maybe you have somebody from, I'm trying to envision a home care or hospice agency. Maybe you've got somebody from, definitely somebody from your clinical team, somebody from your finance and back office team, somebody, the owner that does visionary kind of things, maybe somebody from the marketing team, kind of the different pieces, and you create a leadership team out of that, right? It's typically kind of small. I started to put numbers on that, but then I took it off. And then again, we'll discuss the meeting cadence later, but we meet weekly. And that's my go-to team to move things forward. And this is all about, I don't know, was it the E-Myth also that said you need to work on your business, not just in your business?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. That's the concept. These are the things that you do to work on your business, to make the business run better, not your day-to-day task of working in the business. Like, oh, I've got to run payroll this week.
Yeah.
Now that's a regular to do. This is stuff outside of that. Erin,
I just wanted to, about the leadership team. I just wanted to, do we go into that? I just wanted to, it's like she said, I think we really need to enunciate the fact that it's people that you trust and it's your go-to. So even if they might manage a section of your business, they might not be on the leadership team. They have to be, it has to be a certain, you're probably thinking of somebody right now that's a good fit. And it could be one other person, or it could be 3 other people. Okay. So you don't want someone just because they're in a management position to be on the leader. That does not qualify them. It's someone that you trust, you run ideas by them or something, they help you make decisions. That's who should be on your leadership team.
And that's a really good point. The other piece is, you want to be in a space where you can be super open, super candid. You can say whatever needs to be said and not hurt somebody's damn feelings.
Yes. Or read 5 Dysfunctions of a Team by Patrick Lencioni. He talks about being healthy conflict, if you need that.
Yes. We have lots of books. I kind of, they're working on my website, and I need to put like Amy's bookshelf.
Yeah.
And list
idea.
them out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind. And these are people you trust with, kind of everything. I mean, like we have 4 on our leadership team. There's only 7 of us right now, which is kind of slim, but I mean, that's kind of a big percentage wise. Yeah. I don't think I'd recommend that, but I mean, I would say anywhere from 3 to, I mean, I think what would be the biggest, Erin? Maybe 8. I'm talking like if you had 200 employees.
I would think probably someone from each department. And if you're at 200 employees, each department, probably finance, operations, marketing and sales, the owners, partners.
Yeah.
So it just depends.
You really do want to keep it small, right? Now, a lot of these that have like these 200, 300, 500 employees, that's one department, and they'll have like 10 admin people and just a bunch of attendants. So it's a little different setup.
Okay. I understand.
Yeah. So Erin and her team did a great job for that workshop, the conference we were in. There was a lot of time spent on vision, mission, and core values. So I may have used your workbook to come up with this stuff right here. I almost emailed and said, can I get the Word version?
Use it? I'll send you it. I don't care.
But it had a lot of accounting stuff in it. I was like, okay, it'll take me too long to convert that over to home care. But anyways, so I'll be honest, we do not have a mission statement. We have a vision statement.
We don't have a mission either. We just have a vision.
Okay. So we have a vision statement. I am not a good example. I cannot recite ours word for word.
We provide clarity and direction for the business you've always wanted.
Oh, I love it.
Thank you.
Love it. Ours is something about basically we take the details off of, we simplify life for the agency owner so they can have more freedom to do what they want to do. I need to practice that. I do know my core values. I got those down and I've been preaching them. So we do have our core values. Ours are balanced, authentic, supportive, and driven. So those are our 4 core values. You can have more or less. I say keep less is more on these things.
Yes.
And I will also say my vision statement, God, we said it years ago in RootWorks, right? Way back then, it has evolved. And even this last annual meeting, annual planning session we did, we tweaked it what I think is one last time to make it even more simplistic, but still doesn't flow as smoothly as Erin's does. So I'm going to keep working on that. How did you guys go about setting your vision and your core values?
So there's some rules to setting some of these, or like guidelines. I'm trying to actually pull up the workbook so I can talk with them. But basically what you want to do is, what we did was we had a big whiteboard and we came up with certain words that we wanted to, why we wanted to help our clients. What do we want to do with our team? All these things. And it sort of all just formed into this one sentence. We provide clarity because that's what we want to do. Clarity, clear, what do these financials mean? What does these numbers mean? Whatever. And direction. So we didn't know if we wanted to do like financial freedom, more time, or flexibility or something like that. We didn't want to identify that for them. We just want the direction for the business they've always wanted, whatever that defined for them. So it was a group exercise. The core values, again, it was another exercise. What we did was we talked about the people that we admire the most. We wrote it down and we wrote why we admire them. We wrote some like keywords down for them. And a lot of us had overlapping words, I guess. So we just kept circling them. And then some of them like mean the same thing. Right. Yeah. So it's like, we just narrowed it down and we have 5 core values. I probably wouldn't, people say you can do like 5 to 7. I think like you said, the least amount of information, I guess you can have better, but we also, with our core values and our vision, every single quarterly staff meeting, we talk about them, we go over them. Everybody has them hung in their office or at their home, wherever they're working. And we live and breathe by it. So we hire by it, our core value 100%. If you do not check every single box, you will not. And I know it's hard to understand that with a new person, but once you speak to them a few times, it's kind of easy to understand. And we also keep employees and let them go based on the core values. So there's an exercise you can do through Traction. We actually just did it for somebody to see if they're still in line with a core value. And also with our clients too, a lot of our client criteria for taking them on has to do with our core values as well. So it's an exercise, but I thought we used to have ones that were pretty generic, and I thought and also you want to make sure the core values are actually what are your values and not what you wish your values were.
Yes.
Okay. That's what we did before. Okay. We had some values in there that were like, oh, this is how we want to be, but they actually weren't how we were. And so it caused a lot of confusion. We hired based on those values, but it didn't work. And those people left. So it's, you have to live and breathe your values, but it really helps internally with your team and your company.
Yep. I like that a lot. And we actually just got Matt Patrick's hiring. They got a little hiring scorecard based on your values, and you could, rate people as you're interviewing them.
Yep.
So, and what's funny also about this, guys, is as you start learning about this, you'll hear people talking and they're using Traction terms.
Yeah.
When we started it, I found out our IT company follows it. Our marketing company follows it. Like all these people around you, they'll talk about rocks, which I didn't even put on here, but it's like, do you follow EOS? And they're like, yeah, EOS. You start finding out there are lots of businesses that follow it. And it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So I better keep an eye on the clock because y'all know I go long and lunch will be here at 1:00. So my Jason's Deli salad. Accountability chart. So this is this was a real struggle in the accounting world. I know I struggled with mine. We continue to massage it. This new little mic and my hands I'm knocking it over. I don't have the big boom that Erin's got. She told me I had to get this new mic. So I got one.
Yeah, it's the same one. I just have a different stand.
Yeah.
I just bought a different stand.
I keep knocking it over. So I know in an accounting firm, we struggled with this. I'm like, okay, is cost reporting one department and accounting one department and tax one department? And it was really hard for me to compare with my peers because we do cost reporting and then they don't. So how do you fit that in? I'm hoping, and I think for the hospice, for home care, for home health, I think this is probably a lot more simplistic of a deal for you to go through. So the accountability chart, you really basically, and this is hard. It's easy to say, and it was hard for us to do, being a small company, is you need to create an org chart without people's names. You want the function in there.
The seat.
So we call those seats. What is the role? What is the function? Tax, tax department, tax manager. But so, you've got billing, you've got QA, you've got charting and all the things that you have, right? And so what's hard about it for me was, I was like, well, I've got this one staff and they're really good at cost reports and accounting, but they're not good at tax. So then I can't make this position do all three of those. And I was massaging it based on my people instead of saying, this is the proper structure that's going to allow us to succeed. Let me put people in the right seats. And it's been hard for us. I think we've got it good, but we still struggle with it.
It also helps identify open positions that you want to do. So you want to have an accountability chart, organization chart, whatever you want to call, for ideally the next 90 days. And if it shifts, because you're always hiring probably. So Amy, you're probably going to be positions open. So you want to show what you're looking forward to in the next 90 days or maybe 6 months, I guess. So it's really who owns what role.
Yeah.
Right. So I have a picture of our organization chart if you wanted me to share my screen. But
yeah, let me stop sharing for a second.
Okay. So everybody wants to see. So the EOS way is visionaries at the top, me. So I come up with the big ideas. I see the butterflies, and I'm like, oh my God, let's do it. And then Jake, my husband, is actually the integrator. He's totally opposite of me. And what he does, he actually tells me to slow my roll, right? He tones it. He doesn't tone it down, but he either it's a filter for me. So if he agrees with it or we talk about it in a leadership meeting, he's the one that helps integrate it into the company, make sure it actually gets done. Because I'm very bad at seeing things through. Very good quick starter person, but I'm not good at seeing things through and getting it done because I'm on to the next thing. Then we have a sales and marketing department. We actually added in here a client experience department recently over in this little section you can't see. Then we have operations and finance and admin. So as you can see under here, there's all of our staff and there's a lot of overlapping roles too. So everybody's color coded. And so you can see Amber sits in several different seats. I sit in a couple different seats or roles. So in a smaller company, you absolutely can have overlap. When you grow, then, there's less overlap, but you can see here, bookkeeping person, we have a question mark there. That's who we want to hire in the next 90 days. So this just gives you an idea that it's who owns that role. It doesn't mean that person, it's the position, the seat.
Yep.
Yes.
And so another good thing to point out here, one person can hold multiple seats,
yes,
but each seat can only be owned by one person.
Yes. So we can't have we can't have two, Erica and Amber. Erica handles all of our internal bookkeeping, billing, and all that stuff, but she doesn't do our payroll. Amber does the payroll. So she's the assistant. I think it's listed that way, but yeah. So,
well, and then
someone has to own it.
Yep. So like you said, you added client experience. Our org chart looks very, very similar, but ours is, it's right there in the middle, Erin.
What?
It's got onboarding and client
Oh my God, it literally is right here. That's kind of, wow.
And ours is like that too. And we really struggle. Michelle and Michelle really does the administrative part of onboarding. And then Jen does the client, catch up work and accounting piece of onboarding. But we said, somebody's got to own it. who owns the seat. And honestly, I can't remember who we put in there, but
It's okay.
they own that seat. So making sure that things are moving and getting done is that person's responsibility. Even if that person doesn't do it, they can delegate, but they've got to be the one that's responsible for it so that they can ensure it gets done, hold somebody accountable.
Yeah. So I think that's also why it's called an accountability chart, not an organization chart, because who owns that role?
Yep. Okay, so where did my little doodad go? I should still be in. There it is. Okay. All right, so that's the accountability chart. Okay, let's go through the meeting cadence. To me, this is one of the biggest parts of EOS that I like. I like having the meetings because that's when I get to connect with the team. So daily huddle. Erin, you guys do yours daily, right?
We do it 9:30 every day for 15 minutes. Yep.
And we only do ours Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Daily was too much for us. Once a week is not enough. So we do ours 3 times a week, but we still call it huddle. And we go through we go through what's up, heads up, I'm stuck. So like, what's up? Hey, I'm doing good on my goals this week. Heads up, I've got a doctor's appointment at 2:00. I'll be out for a couple hours and I'm not stuck. Or in Erin's team, they also added, which we haven't done, I have a win. Like, hey, I finally got so-and-so's bank login, or, these are the things that happen with us.
Yeah.
Now and then keep it to about 15 minutes or less. I admire Matt Patrick's firm. They've got 27, 28 people. They get done in like 8 minutes. They're like, it's very quick, just check in.
Yes.
And it's the whole team. Now, home care people, hospice, this whole team thing will not work for you. Your clinicians out in the field are not going to be able to jump on huddle. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. If you're not too big and they can jump on via Zoom, but in my mind, they're at patients' houses and things like that. So I would look at your administrative staff and maybe your managers. So this is where some tweaking has to be done. There is the proper EOS model, and then there's kind of a hybrid. I know we are definitely hybrid. Our first EOS coach knew nothing about a CPA firm, accounting firm. We did first 2 meetings with him, then we disengaged. It was very expensive. And I felt like he didn't get us. Then we hired Joe 3, who had an accounting firm. He's not EOS certified, but he's like us and does it all the time. And he is a coach. So that worked better for us. So keep some things in mind that get the gist of it and make it work for you. So that's the daily. After action reviews, we call them lessons learned. And we actually are finding ourselves doing this all the time.
All the
now.
time.
Right? It's just walking down the hall, like, oh, well, there's a lesson learned, kind of thing. But it's basically after any big project or, any, I don't know, I can't think in my head of how this would play out in a home care hospice. So I'm going to give you an example for us. We do it after client onboarding. We do it after employee onboardings. We will do it after cost report season as a whole, not every single cost report, but the season, tax season, 1099 season. Ugh, it's coming. Yeah. We all hate 1099s. But
that's a hint for you guys to get our subcontractor information to Amy.
Yes. They've been we've been on it. Everybody's been pretty good, I think. But you just, after some kind of action, you ask what went well, what did not go well, what improvements can be made. And then you involve anybody that was involved in the project, try to get it done as soon as the project is over. And it might take, Erin says hers is 60 to 90 minutes, but we're doing these like just walking.
Oh, no, these are, it depends. No, the 60 to 90. Yeah, no, it depends on the thing. So it's tax season, after action tax season review is 60 to 90 minutes. Okay. But like if it's a client onboarding, it's pretty quick. It's basically, I think, any larger project or thing that you do within your company that really should be discussed after, just to see, like it says, what went well, what didn't go well, what can you do better, what should you improve upon, all that kind of stuff. It could even be like if you select like a book of clients or patients that you have, you could just say, okay, you can after action review that. So like you have services that you offer. You can review how that's going. So it's just a way to look back and make your processes and things that you do in your company better.
Yep. And that's it. It's like, I love Matt's podcast is One Step Better.
Yeah.
And it's like, and that's just kind of the thing. Can you get 1% better each time that you repeat that? And so it's just, and honestly, this isn't even in EOS. This is something we've all added to it out of PASMA. And after action review and lessons learned really come from Navy, one of the military branches.
One of the military branches.
Yeah. Next is monthly one-on-ones with leadership. Erin, I'm gonna let you talk about this one because we've done it once.
Yes.
And you know.
Okay. So a couple of years ago, before we started EOS, we started this before we started EOS. I don't know. We started this in 2019, I think, but we had about a 79% turnover for employees. We have amazing intentions with our staff. We want the best for them. I think that we're a great place to work, but we were just having turnover and we just honestly didn't know why. And we figured out after action review that we just weren't getting to the issues quickly enough. We were not solving problems. We were not addressing stuff. And so what we put into place was monthly one-to-ones. And what that is every single month, the staff fill out a little mini questionnaire. It's very quick. And it says, how do you rate this past month on a scale of 1 to 10? If it's, and they go, whatever it is, then it's what are you most excited about or what went well the past month? What are you most frustrated with or overwhelmed with? And are there any tools or resources or training that we can provide to you to make your job easier or better or to advance you? And they meet with someone on the leadership team. We have four people on my leadership team, but 3 of us do these and they rotate with us every month. So one month I'll have different people and Jake will have other people, and then we rotate just to kind of mix it up a little bit. And it has been one of the best things we have implemented in our company because we are getting to issues very quickly. We are squashing issues. We are identifying training gaps immediately. So rather than like 6 months, I'm like, what the hell is this person doing? Because they brought it up. They're very open and honest too. So if they're frustrated with something, if you assign them something that they're just really uncomfortable with or do not like doing, like they just hate doing it, they tell us right away why. The training gaps, like I said. We also, I think Amy's going to bring it up, we have scorecards for them. So metrics that they have to target, they have to hit every month. So I don't really know what kind of metrics you'd hit in the home healthcare industry, but maybe it's just patient satisfaction or something like that. But that has been because they didn't have the expectations for what they're supposed to be producing and other things related. And now we can point to it and say, okay, this number is a little off. Why? Is it a training gap? Is it you're just don't feel like working? I don't really know. But, we address it. The other cool thing that we've seen come out of it is they have suggestions to make the company better. We always want that. And we see it and we usually implement it right away. So they actually see that we listen and we care about what they have to say. So I think the whole thing you should do, that if you were to take away anything right now, is to do monthly one-to-ones. If you listen to anybody like Alex Hormozy, he grossed $100 million in under 10 years. Him and his wife talk about doing weekly one-to-ones. There's every leader, every awesome, amazing business owner I listen to, all books or whatever, they all do at least monthly one-to-ones, if not weekly, with their staff. So that's my thing.
Good. I needed to hear that. So we did October. We skipped November because we were at PASBA and then Thanksgiving and all the crap, right?
Yeah.
And then, so now December is tomorrow. And so we'll get back on that. But our first go at it was great. But that's what I like. You hit it, is they will bring up ideas that you're like, oh, that's a great idea. That'll move the company forward. And it also might be some super small, tiny thing. Here's my example. One of our staff, she handles a group, right? So this group has 6 or 7 different entities. Damn microphone. It's because I'm playing with the cord. And so anyways, we keep time per client, right? Well, she was, she would work on the group as a whole and try to keep her time real precise. And it was just a train wreck. And she said, is there any way I could just keep my time for the group as a whole? Well, to me, I was like, that's easy, right? So it was such an easy fix that it provided great insight that made her job a whole lot better. Her timekeeping is way better. So it helped all the way around. And it was such a simple thing that I didn't know it was a challenge for her, and we were able to fix it. So I do think it's very good, and we need to get right back to them. I kind of did that out of order, I guess. So then weekly we do, this is my favorite meeting, is our weekly leadership meeting. I will say it's hard for me to even wait for the weekly meeting to meet. I'm like always wanting to talk. I also am like Erin. We see big shiny items and projects and things to do, and let's do this. This sounds so cool. We get all these ideas, but then we need somebody else to carry them out for us, because that's what we don't do, is we don't get them done. We get them started. We don't get them done. Yeah. So anyways, this is where a lot of that happens there. So this, I did not include it here, but the meeting is 90 minutes. We have a bad habit of going over. I want to try to reel it back in, and because there's an agenda with like a time, right? Like stay on track, a very strict timeline. And see, this is where we get a little loosey-goosey with it. We still have that meeting and we get all of these things done. We're just not always rigid about it. So, you go over highlights. Hey, what went well this week? Any heads up, any employee announcements, client announcements, anything,
any
good
bad
or bad
things? Yeah.
What's that?
Bad. Any good or bad? Good or bad, not just good. Yep.
Good or bad. We go over our scorecard. So we as leadership all have a scorecard that we track. Like we track what percentage of complete are we for the month? Like, do we have 20% of our financials out? 100%. How many projects are late, and each month counts as a separate project, things like that. And then we, so I'm sales and marketing. How many new leads did I get this week? How many proposals, what dollar amount of proposals were sent out? What was closed? Like those are things I track.
But there's also targets. There's targets that are included. So you have targets that you want to work towards. So if it's an increase in revenue, this is something you have set up. Let's say every month you want to increase by 15%. Are you on track? Are you hitting that too? So you have targets, what you want to do. Client complaint or patient complaints, you like less than 5 or something like that. So
rocks. I wish I had made that in all caps. Rocks, to me, rocks and issues are the terms that I hear the most with those that practice EOS. So your rocks are your big quarterly to-dos. We'll get to that in a minute, kind of, sort of. Again, we're not going deep into it, but that's like the big, everybody on the leadership team has 1 or 2 rocks per quarter. That's your big project that you're going to get done. But you review the status of that. Is it on track or off track? And so we kind of try to hold each other accountable. To-dos, which I have cleaned my to-do list up, Erin. I have to-dos now. My to-do list was super deep, and they're like, no, Amy, your to-dos are supposed to be what you're going to get done this week. I said, oh.
Yeah, 7 days. We struggle with that too.
I cleaned it up. So now I have a this week, and I have
You just delete them? You just delete them?
No.
That's what I do.
I put them to a not this week list. Anyways, and then there's issues. Issues is different than a to-do because it's an issue that you haven't resolved yet. So let's say you have an issue, and okay, I'm trying to think of an issue, but anyways, you have an issue, you hash it out. And then you're like, okay, to solve this, we need to do 1, 2, 3, 4 to-dos. So you turn them into to-dos, you know what they are, you just got to get them done, kind of thing. So that's kind of how issues and to-dos work.
If it helps, these meetings, so issues for us, things are like we review an upcoming one-to-one, or we like do an AAR after action review on a one-to-one. So we always like to discuss one-to-ones before they come up. That's considered like an issue. Or maybe it's there's something with a client that came up or a patient. It's sort of these things that come up on a day-to-day basis that are bigger than just shooting emails out and trying to resolve, but you need to resolve them quickly. So you identify them and you put them on this issues board. So whenever I'm like, okay, we'll be like, oh, this blah, 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 like this bookkeeping process isn't being followed. And I'm like on a rant. And then we're just like, add it to the issues board. So I'm not taking up someone's time when it's not scheduled. But so it goes there and we prioritize them during the meeting on which issues are the most important to get through. So it's things that you work through. This alone, we have worked through more issues and solved more problems in our company. It's in the hundreds for a year. So it's these things that linger around that you're like, how the hell am I going to resolve this? And the point of it is to resolve it during that meeting. And if there's action items after that meeting, you make it a to-do.
Yep. And the to-do is assigned to somebody and then you go out and conquer. And so when you started, was your issues list like enormous? And then also like your rocks, like our rocks were like super deep and they're like, you really should only have 1 or 2 rocks per quarter. I'm like, no, but we need to address all of these and it's doable. Yeah. And so, hang on just a second. Hey, Michelle, lunch is here. Okay. She's going to grab it. Here she comes. Oh, it's Robert. Okay. Never mind. Issues list. All right. And that's leadership only. And again, we get on and that's my favorite time of the week is to get that done. Now, quarterly planning, and maybe I should have started this with annual, then quarterly. Listen, I'm left-handed. I do things backwards a lot. So you know what? I'm going to do that. This is really where I should have started. Okay.
Yes.
When you start this, you really start with a 2-day annual retreat. The leadership leads, you get off site. It is very important to leave your office.
If you're thinking this right now, there's no way in hell I cannot work for 2 days and work on this. You are wrong. You actually can't afford not to do this. Okay.
And you will be working and you will be exhausted after each day.
Yes. When someone told me I had to take 2 days away from doing whatever the hell I thought it was important, and I was like, over my dead body. And then I did it and I was like, all right, okay. I see why I had to do that. So yes, this is called working on the business.
Yes. Yes. And it feels fluffy, like right here, you know, you're going to sit down and you're going to develop that vision and mission and the values and your guarantees and what differentiates you from your competitors. And we set a 10-year target, a 3-year picture, a 1-year plan, but that's where you create all of that.
Yes.
Is in that 2-day, there's structure to it. I highly recommend getting a coach. It's $3,000 to $6,000 a day for a lot of them, what you say. But can you self-implement this? Absolutely. I feel like it takes you 2 to 3 years longer if you do it on your own. I think that's a safe estimate. Yeah. So it's worth it, but that's where you set up all basically the goals. Like, what is the goal? Mm-hmm. So then I'm gonna go backwards on the slide.
I just want to about the annual people. So if someone told me before I started this to set my 10-year, I'd be like, yeah. But basically what happens is if you don't know where you want to go, how can you do the day-to-day stuff? What are you working towards? So I'm a big believer. You have to start with the end in mind.
Yep.
So if you don't know what you want for your firm, I also have an accounting course business where I help accounting firm owners grow. And we actually talk a lot about this, and I have them fill out their ideal life or I dream life or ideal life, and then dream firm, dream company. So what that does is I want to see exactly what they want to set in their company. If I had a perfect company, what would that look like? If I had a perfect life, what does that look like? Because then you know what you want to work towards, right? Because your business funds your life. Yep. So if you don't have the end in mind, you don't know what to work towards.
Yep. So, that's also from E-Myth, right? Start with the end in mind.
Oh, it must be. Yes, it must be. And so it does. It start with the end in mind. Yeah. Jake just says it all the time too. So I think it is E-Myth. But then, so you have your 10-year, those are probably like BHAGs, right? Big, hairy, audacious goals. Stephen Covey. 7 habits of highly, is that it? So you have these BHAGs. And when we first set ours, we're like, oh my God, that's crazy. I will tell you right now, we've accomplished some of our 10-year goals in under 3 years. So, but what those 10-year targets should be, those are big goals. your 3-year picture, your 3-year goals should actually tie in directly to your 10-year goals. So you don't want to have these 10-year goals and your 3-year goals have nothing to do with it. They all tie in directly. Then your 1-year plan, which is broken down into quarters, then ties in directly to 3 years. So how do I get to the 10-year? I have to figure out where do I want to be in the 3rd year, 3 years, and then where do I want to be in a year? So it all ties together.
Yep. My original 10-year target was $10 million in revenue. And then I quickly said, no, that's not for me. It's not for me.
Well, yeah, it depends. Yeah. And it can change too. So this is also like I'm doing my 2-day next week. I'm flying back to Massachusetts for it. And we're actually, first of all, we have to reset our 3-year goals because we are a 1 year out. And then our 10-year, we've changed dramatically. I had a $13.5 million firm. And last time I talked to them, I said, no, I want a $5 million boutique firm. Right. So what do I want? Like, what do we want? So it can change too. It's okay to shift your goals and what you priorities in life.
Yep, absolutely. So then the quarterly is basically a slim down of that. And some of the studies show that the human brain can really hold something for 90 days. Like we can hold our attention on a goal, on a project, on a task for about 90 days, then we lose interest. And so that's why they go with this quarterly planning. And so at the quarterly, again, offsite, 1 day, and you reflect on the last quarter and you look at the 1-year plan, because that 1-year plan is your guide. Yep. And you set your goals for the quarter, and those are your quote rocks. That's where that term comes from. What do you guys do different on that, Erin? Anything?
No. Our quarterly ones are basically to just, again, reflect what you've done and what you've accomplished, and then just to revisit them to make sure, because like we do rough quarterly goals for each quarter for the year, but then we usually change them. Stuff happens, like PPP 1, 2 came out, we had to completely pivot. So yeah, we also revisit our values, our vision, just to make sure it still aligns with what we want. Our last quarterly meeting, we actually changed some stuff too, which was kind of cool. So you don't have to wait till the annual to change it, but you just want to make sure that's where you still align. We go over our accountability chart too, who we want to hire, all that stuff. So yeah.
And I saw somebody else planning their quarterly rocks out several quarters in advance. We don't do that. We just plan them for this one, and then
we do a little bit. We do it to an extent, but it's we don't hold to them. Do you know what I mean? Gotcha. It's just kind of like priorities of this. Yeah. So we wanted to do monthly webinars or whatever. And so we would be like, okay, 3 webinars a quarter, through that in a quarter, because that's, so it just depends.
Then it comes into the weekly leadership, and that's where you're really taking a pulse on it. To me, it's got 2 big purposes. You're taking a pulse on your rocks. How are you doing to keep you motivated, keep them top of mind? And then also, you're checking your scorecard, but really also to dig into the issues. Dig into your issues. And that's where, and like Erin said, as things come up throughout the week, you need a system to manage this. It could be Excel, it could be a Word doc, a Google Doc, whatever. We use Asana. Is that what y'all use? To manage ours. So we have a project. So there's a list. It's just a list. Asana for us is just a bunch of lists. We need to get better at using it. But we have a place, and it's even got a mobile app, because like I'll think of something like, for instance, one of mine right now, I got 2 that you guys can relate to. One is I need to completely revamp the nursing home cost reporting. We only do 5 of them. So it doesn't get as much attention as my home care and my hospice ones, right? Those are dialed in. I need to do that. And then another one is I need to set up a really good standardized tool, like an Excel spreadsheet, but with a process of how to review rate enhancement for the PAS clients that we have, so that all of my team can do that. So those are some of the, things, some of the issues that are on my issues board, and I need to just get them done. And that's where Erin's saying, like, this gives you a framework to hold yourself accountable, hold the team accountable, but get stuff done.
Get shit done. Get shit done. That's my thing. Get shit done.
Yep. That is my name in Slack. They made me put Amy at the front of it, but it's Amy's Getting Shit Done.
There you go. There you go. Yep.
So then these are the other ones. I went backwards. So where does that leave us? So that leaves us with goal setting. Again, you use the quarterly planning sessions to kind of set those rocks, and you're looking at a 90-day period, and they reset every quarter. One thing we have done better, think about Asana. So Asana is a checklist and you can mark it done. So if we've got a rock for fourth quarter that we do not complete, what we were doing is just moving it to the next quarter.
Oh, okay.
That's not fair, because you want to measure, you want to get 80% of your rocks done. If you're getting 100% of your rocks done, that's great, but you're also shooting too low, is what I was told.
We've never gotten 100% of our rocks done. I also would love to do a weighted average, but it's not allowed. Okay. Cause I hate seeing we do a ton of progress on a rock, but if it's not 100% completed, it doesn't count and it kills me. It hurts my soul. But yes. I also know, getting ERC out, for example, I don't think that'll ever be done. So it's just one of those things that
I said no today. Somebody emailed me about ERC. I said, we're done. Yeah. And so what we do in Asana is we leave it there unmarked, and then we just copy it to the next quarter. But I want to still see that in fourth quarter, we didn't get it done. And so we keep these as a history.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot we have that conference call after this.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay.
That's okay.
We told them we'd be late.
Yeah.
KPIs. So KPIs is another term that gets slinged around. If you don't know, it's key performance indicators. And so these are metrics that you can watch. I'm thinking of home care. Yours could be, what's your average visits per week or visits per month, probably visits per week. You try to define weekly KPIs that could be measured weekly, but how many visits per week are your RNs doing, your LVNs, your CNAs? It's got to be something that you can track. And it has to be something that's assigned, somebody has to be responsible for that number. And then you report on them weekly and review them in your leadership meeting. On this, I'm going to say less is more. I think each person of the leadership team might have 3 or 4. How many do y'all have, Erin?
I have, all of mine are sales and marketing related. So
mine are
4. So also one of these things is, so we have what's called a scorecard or KPIs for every single staff, depending on what they do. So our admin even has one. It's for accounting, it's how many days it takes to, get them out of a scanning task or something like that. Our production staff is how much they've gotten, accounting work done. The firm, we have sales, but each department also has one too. So if you have several, that's what you do with EOS. You grow from it. So you start on a firm level and then each individual scorecard, and then you start with departments. So I'm a small accounting firm too. We have 9 or 10 employees. I can't remember. But we have a tax scorecard. We have a bookkeeping scorecard. We have a payroll one. We have sales and marketing. So as you start to, implementing this in your company, you then implement it by department. So each department gets more and more efficient. So then you see your firm, your company scorecards get more and better. Everything's trending the right way. Yep. And what's really cool, I will say this. So we just had our leadership meeting today, and we were looking at our firm scorecard. All of our numbers have been trending really well, right? Because we look at it we're like, great. But then we noticed something's going down, and we actually were able to find out what it was and identify it. So if we hadn't had that company scorecard, we would have taken a lot longer to identify the issue and resolve the problem. So it's data. Obviously, as accountants, we love data. That's we just love Excel. It's so great. But when you actually have a trending history of targets and data, it's the impact it can have on your business is just tremendous. So.
Sorry, somebody's car alarm was going on, and I have a feeling it might have been Robert Knight's. I'm not sure. So I had to mute for a second and close the door, and because it sounded really loud. He's got a really big truck, because we're in Texas and that's what you do.
Yeah, that's what you do. That's what you do.
Yeah. What else do we got? I think that's the end, which is.
Do you want, I can show you, it is the end. If anybody has questions, it's at the end. We actually did a KPI workshop a couple weeks ago, and I have a whole thing on it too. But
anybody got questions?
Is anybody currently doing any of this or see themselves wanting to implement something like this in their company? What do you call agency?
Agencies.
Yeah.
But it's a company.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I just, you know how everybody has their like lingo, how they refer to their business and different
providers.
industries.
But somebody wrote something with using the term providers, and it was very confusing recently. Anyway, that's the way it was. So, well, if that is it, I appreciate you guys all hanging out with us. You can get a hold of us. Erin is doing this kind of coaching with accounting staff. And so, like I said, I'm toying with the idea of trying to maybe do this with home care hospice, maybe over the summer, do just kind of a group, and just know that I am not a certified expert in it, but it is something we practice. And so I think I could help. So stay tuned for that. Now we will be next month's webinar, forgive me, I think it's the 13th. It's going to be Erin back with me again, and we're going to really dive into KPIs and goal setting. Yes, I did.
I have a ton of stuff on that, Amy. I can give you.
Good.
I just did all this stuff.
That's perfect. We'll let her do all of that. Yeah. And anyways, I appreciate you guys. So let us know if you got anything, and we'll send a recording. It'll go out to anybody. If you want to share it with anybody, feel free. It'll be up on YouTube later this afternoon.
Thanks, Amy.
All right. Thanks, Erin. Have a good day.
Thanks, y'all.
Good job.
Bye.
Bye.